what's poppin'? It's Maxify back, again joined by my co-host Blake for another episode of Maxify Seminar.
Today we're taking a look at Pig. We just saw it in theaters. It's a new release. Nick Cage.
So Pig is Michael Sarnoski's debut feature and stars, as you said, Nicolas Cage as a truffle hunter who, when his truffle hunting pig is kidnapped, stops at nothing to try to get his pig back.
So we saw this the other day with moderate hopes and, it actually proved to be, pretty good.
Yes, it was a lot better than what the synopsis had me believing, and I'm really glad we went out and saw it, because this movie surprised me. And so I really just feel like we need to talk about this movie, because I really enjoyed it.
Yes, I enjoyed it too, and one of the main reasons for that, it was pretty beautifully shot. There was great cinematography.
For sure. Every scene was just immaculately put together, like its own individual photo, which is really peak cinematography by definition.
Yeah. And I did notice a lot of use of depth of field and framing in this movie.
I noticed a lot of different tones used throughout, very distinctive hues matched into each scene, and different locations, but also tones to kind of match stuff that's going on with the story, because this film really is a lot more than what the premise would suggest. This is not just like John Wick, but with pigs, as many critics have called it before.
I went into this movie thinking it was going to be pretty much like Okja.
Mm-hmm. I definitely thought it was going to be a lot like Okja, and I was thinking this is going to be Okja meets John Wick, and it really isn't. This movie explores some really complex themes, and a lot of them too, and it's not that Okja didn't do that, but this movie surprised me with what it dealt with.
So this movie also touches on dreams and aspirations and kind of the pursuit of that and why we do what we do, and also touches on, or it has a very, peaceful resolve, opposed to, traditional violent revenge.
Yeah, that was one thing very unique about this movie that is kind of sold as a revenge film, is it takes a different approach. Nicolas Cage's character in this film takes a different approach to going and getting back what has been taken from him, where it's very non-violent. He's very much trying to find a way to get to what he wants without hurting others. And that's something that you certainly don't see in a lot of movies with the same kind of setup. It's a real subversion of the kind of John Wick genre type that has been especially popular lately, but even back to Taken and stuff like that. And there's a lot in this movie that kind of subverts genre, especially with Nicolas Cage. Mandy, I thought this was going to be a lot like Mandy, which is another Nicolas Cage revenge movie where he kind of just goes on a violent rampage.
And that's kind of what you're expecting with Nick Cage movies. I definitely thought this was going to be a revenge thing. Because of the synopsis and because of Nick Cage, that's kind of a bad combo. But it ended up to be not what I was thinking it was going to be.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And another thing I really liked in this is that it broke away from the story at parts to have little random moments that were outside of the main narrative that were just for character development.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really smart thing to do, because to me it seemed just more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
He visited his old house or something, and just it helped you see the full spectrum of the character.
Yeah, and that's something another thing you definitely don't see a lot of, and I think would be nice to see more of in modern cinema, is taking a break from just the story of the movie to explore how the characters are and how the characters have been shaped outside of like the limits of 90 minutes, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so there was overall just some grief in this movie, quite a bit of it actually, and I did notice like most of the characters deal with grief in this movie. It's a big part of this movie, and you can all the 5 stages are there.
And this movie really is about grief a lot. It's probably its biggest theme, and I really appreciated this in a movie that, premise-wise, looked like it was going to be Nick Cage goes on a rampage to get his pig back. And so there's, from the grief aspect of it, from the dreams and aspirations aspect of it, and from, there's even commentary on like the power of food and stuff. And I just think there's so much more depth to this movie than there could have been if this was in the wrong hands. But luckily, this movie was handled very well.
Okay, so I saw you wrote in your notes for this movie that it could be Nick Cage's best, or you just had put it's Nick Cage's best performance with a question mark.
Yes, I did, because this movie, I mean, I like Nick Cage a lot, okay, so I have a lot of bias here. You may have seen my poster, I don't know if it's in frame right now. I have a Nicolas Cage poster right above my head while we're shooting this. But I like Nicolas Cage because there's not a lot of actors where you can watch any of their movies and they make it better, no matter what. Like, you can watch a terrible movie with Nicolas Cage and it's all that much better because he's in it and he's having his crazy vampire's kiss moments or his Wicker Man moments.
Yeah.
How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned?
And this one was a little different though because it was actually he didn't really do much Nick Cage stuff. He was just a good actor in this movie.
Yeah, the caging was to a minimum in this, you could say. So yeah, what my point is I like watching his movies because they're either really bad or they're really good, like your adaptations and your Peggy Sue Got Married to a certain extent. But this movie is definitely really good. Like, you can tell in this movie he is like a genuinely good actor, and you can see why he keeps doing movies, and you can see how he had 6 movies a year for 4 years prior to COVID. You can see how he keeps getting work because he is a really good actor. And in this movie, I think he had some of his strongest performing he's ever done.
It kind of seems like in this movie he had really a chance to, like, shine. Just, like, the other roles he's taken to an extent are not very serious.
Mm-hmm. But with this script and this story, this movie, I think Nicolas Cage was able to take this and just roll with it. He noticed that this has huge potential, and so he just made it happen. And I thought there were particular moments, especially one near the climax, one kind of near the middle of the film, that I thought were absolutely Oscar-worthy even. And I don't know, what did you think?
I thought it is most likely his best performance. I have not seen all of his movies, but it's the best I've seen so far as an actor, from an actor standpoint.
I think so too. It's hard to think of. He has so many movies and so many movies where his performance is mostly just kind of freaking out and being Nicolas Cage, but moments of adaptation, moments of Mandy, moments of Moonstruck. This movie is another movie just like that, and I think this is going to be known as one of his better movies, like Leaving Las Vegas. And I think if he was able to get an Academy Award for Leaving Las Vegas, certainly he should at least be nominated for this.
I agree.
If the Academy has any idea what they're doing.
Well, they only gave Leo one award, so I don't think so.
I'm going to give Pig thumbs up. 2 stars.
I'm also going to give Pig 2 stars, thumbs up, because I think it was maybe one of the best movies I've seen all year. I was
going to mention that too. I think this was, so far, my favorite movie of 2021. And I'm really glad we saw it in theaters. And I think it's very important for other people to go see this movie. Right now in theaters, it's only playing in one theater locally. So I just really hope this movie finds success, because this movie really is, I'm reluctant to call it a masterpiece, but it kind of is a bit of a masterpiece, especially as far as Nicolas Cage movies go. Definitely go see this movie if you can. I don't know if it'll be coming to streaming. Right now it's playing in select theaters, so do your best to go see this movie. We both highly recommend it.
I've been Blake.
I've been Max.
This has been Maxify Seminar.
And we'll see you in the next one.